Welcome back to the Patrick Reagan Show here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network and News Talk 98.7 WOKI. Coming back in with a little Ramstein there. What I want to do is pick up something real quick, just that was put on the Fox News website today that really drives home what I've been talking about this show. The headline is, Secret Court OKs continued U.S. phone surveillance program for another 3 months. The Secret Intelligence Court that signs off on giving the U.S. government the authority to monitor hundreds of millions of telephone records has renewed the government's request to do so for another 3 months. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence announced Friday its authority to maintain the program expired on July 19th, and that the government had sought and received a renewal from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act Court, otherwise known as the FISA Court. Major U.S. telephone carriers have been ordered to give records of their customers' calls to the NSA, which also is able to reach into the data streams of U.S. companies such as Yahoo, Facebook, Microsoft, Google, and others, and grab emails, video chats, pictures, and more. The technology companies say they turn over information only if required by court order. At a discussion earlier Friday touching on privacy and security, the Director of National Intelligence Council, Robert Litt, maintained that, quote, these programs are legal because they're authorized by Congress, the courts, and the White House, but that only time will tell the full extent of the damage caused by the unlawful disclosures of these lawful programs. Okay, so as I've talked about before, Congress authorizes them, so it makes it okay. Hitler and Stalin authorized a lot of stuff too, made it perfectly legal, but it didn't make it right. I've told you, and I've told you, the government is going to continue this until you start ringing the phones off the hook in Washington demanding they stop. Some people may ask, why in the world is that not happening? And that kind of leads into my second thought real quick in the last segment here. I think what we're starting to see in America is a population of this country becoming more and more like children. We have the general overall maturity level falling in this country. And this is what happens when you have government taking on more of the role of a parent. Someone in the equation has to be the child. And a lot of Americans are all too eager to accept that role. Provide my housing, provide my food, provide my cell phone, provide my transportation. A vast majority of Americans have decided to let government be their parent, and they want to act as the children. This is the type of behavior you're going to get. You have the aggregate of the population taking on the role of a child. Just like real children, you'll have a few who find it offensive that you treat them like children. They want to assume responsibilities and want to make their own decisions. But for that 95% of people inside the bell curve, letting government be the parent and them being the child is perfectly okay with them. Think about when you do this for a child, when you give them everything, it starts them down the road of dependence. They become more and more dependent on the system, which is exactly what the government wants. It wants more and more control. When you give someone something for free, it's never enough. Just look at your children. Mommy, can I have a cookie? Yes. Can I have 2 cookies? Yes, you can have 2 cookies. Can I have 3 cookies? You know, it's never enough. A child is going to push the boundaries to see how far they can go. And why wouldn't they? If the parents say no, then no problem. But if they say yes, then you have 1 more cookie than you had a few seconds ago. The government is the world's worst parent. It spoils the children, gives them anything they want without demanding any sort of responsibility in return, without demanding any kind of growth or maturity. It spoils to no end. And consequently, we're having an increasingly bratty nation, an increasingly spoiled nation that wants its way no matter that someone else has to pay for it. A child doesn't care that their parent has to pay for a new ball. They just want it, and that's all that matters. And why does the government do this? Because it can't help it. The more people it has under its thumb, the more secure the bureaucrats' jobs are. They can point to the huge number of people in governmental assistance and say, see how bad we're needed? See how many people we're helping? but no one bothers to point out it's this self-fulfilling process and doesn't do anyone any good to try to fix. It doesn't help the bureaucrat. We might decide to eliminate their job. And it doesn't help the person receiving the aid to say they don't need it anymore either. The whole system runs in a circle, increasing in size and scope until one day it can't be sustained. And unfortunately, that seems to be rapidly our only hope. The system breaks down and we have to stop. It certainly doesn't seem like we have enough people interested in stopping all this nonsense. Oh, sure, they'll complain about it. They'll tell the pollster it's a bad idea, but I don't want to have to actually do anything. I want to sit here on my couch and watch television. We've almost become too successful for our own good. It doesn't hurt enough. The bad news is by the time it starts hurting these lazy people, it's too late. The system's already crashing. My job here is kind of to persuade you to do something about it. Run for office. Hold those in office accountable. Write letters, send emails, make phone calls, do whatever it takes to get this country turned around and started down the right path. All right, we're up on the last of the Patrick Riggins Show. I want to thank you again for tuning in here on News Talk 98.7 WOKI. If you want more information about us, you can pop over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Patrick Riggins Show. Riggins is Riggins. And you don't have to be a member of Facebook. You can just put that address in and you'll see everything on the page there. You can also go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. And you can also email us, patrickrigginshow@gmail.com. And you can also just send us a card or letter to the WOKI studios here on Old Kingston Pike in Knoxville, Tennessee. Thank you again for listening, and be sure and join me next Saturday afternoon at 4, where again we'll be fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.
Join us again next week for a solid dose of truth on the Patrick